Main Street, USA. Could be really anywhere in the country. But while that is a cliche phrase, you do realize that some rural communities are thriving and some are striving to keep their heads above water. Hi everybody, welcome to the County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. So how does a community who's facing an economic downturn because of a commodity look for a bright future? That's the topic of our show today, but let's start with the problem. Coal. It provided 33% of the nation's energy in 2015. It also provided the backbone of the economy of several counties here in Utah. But there's a war on coal that's showing no signs of slowing down, and the counties who have relied on it economically are getting squeezed. Industry leaders in coal technology believe that the technology is out there to make coal cleaner so that it can still play a vital role in our economies and our environment in the future. But even if that does happen, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have diverse rural economies with lots of inputs.
If you're just focused on just one thing, such as just recreation, I think you're going to struggle long term because there are going to be ebbs and flows, there are going to be ups and downs. There's different weather, there's different times of the year. I think a thriving state, a thriving local community is going to be a little bit more diverse in its portfolio.
So how can counties who rely on one key hub industry, whether it be energy development, agriculture, tourism, or whatever, diversify their economies so that they can better weather the ups and downs of the commodity market? And while they're at it, attract new people to come live in their communities. Well, one Utah company thinks they have the answer.
When people ask me what I do, I go into small communities and utilizing a gigabit of connectivity in a place, an opportunity hub, provide educational and employment and entrepreneurial opportunities, period. It's creating a place like this that's an accelerator, an incubator where people can get together, where you can also provide them education, mentoring, and that type of thing.
Accelerant is already building what they call opportunity hubs in several counties to provide fiber internet, a modern workplace, and the necessary amenities for remote employees of urban-based companies to plug in and get their work done just a stone's throw away from some of the best recreational places in the world and their homes. In theory, everybody agrees that these opportunity hubs are a great idea. But in practice, will it really hold up to scrutiny and provide the opportunity people are looking for?
So our model is to go into Main Street, open a location. I mean, as people live in rural communities know, there are empty locations on almost every Main Street. If we can get 50 people that come to work every day on Main Street, it changes the entire atmosphere. More people are going to the restaurants, more people are going to the whatever local businesses may be along Main Street. So it's a cascading effect.
So now the vision is laid out and the wheels are in process. The question remains, will it actually work? And do the counties actually want them?
Well, I think there are a few opportunities that it provides for Millard County. I think the beauty in the model is that they are looking to take people with everyday skills, employ them, and give them the opportunity to skill up to do bigger and better jobs.
A lot of people have staked hopes that this opportunity will end up being the answer to some long-offered prayers. We'll continue our discussion about Accelerant and this new process for opportunity hubs on the county seat right after this commercial break when we join our guest panel.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. belong in Kanab.
In a place that is beyond words, there is nothing to be said, except take your time in Bryce Canyon country.
Have you ever wanted to recreate the world around you? Add some excitement, culture, adventure? Well, there's no need to remake the world when that perfect combination already exists. Just remember 4 words. Welcome to Weber County. In Ogden, you'll find everything you're looking for, from the top of Powder Mountain to the restaurants of our revitalized downtown. Ogden, Utah, mountain to metro and everything in between. Visit Ogden.com.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking about opportunities and opportunity hubs in rural Utah today as a way for businesses to partner with a talented, willing, and able workforce in rural Utah. Joining us for the conversation, Jake Hardman from the Governor's Office of Economic Development, the Rural Outreach Coordinator.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. I got that mostly right. Ethan Migliori, who is an Emery County Commissioner and also works for Utah State University as the non-credit
Director on the non-credit training.
Non-credit training, and Dean Lundberg from Accelerant. Thank you all for joining us. And I'd like to start the conversation as, you know, when we went to this presentation, there was kind of this conversation of if you build it, they will come, or something to that effect. You've got one up and operating in Price, and the one here in Richfield's about to go live. How's it working so far?
It's working well. So we have several. It's actually just the opposite. We have the one here in Richfield functioning with employees, and the one in Price is getting ready to be stood up with the employees in there.
I've never been one for really tight detail.
But that's just detail we don't need to worry about. But no, it's working very well. We have employees here they're working every day, servicing our clients and doing a fantastic job.
Let's talk about the education side of this. And Ethan, you're in a unique position because you can see the supply side of the education side. You can also see the growth of the community. Do you see this working for like Emery County?
I think this is a great model for anywhere in rural Utah, and as you'll see through the conversation today, I think that everyone will agree that in rural Utah we have excess workforce with downturns in the energy industry, and a lot of those individuals are highly skilled. And so matching them with companies like Accelerant, who are looking to expand their business model off the Wasatch Front and take advantage of that excess labor, and then finding the right arrangement between the curriculum, the higher education, or probably a cohort of higher education to make that curriculum work because of the outreach that each college and university and ATCs have throughout Utah. I think is going to be critical to make sure that they're trained, or reskilled is probably the better word, because a lot of them are highly skilled to meet the demands in the IT world. I think it's a fantastic model, and we're excited to watch it flourish in rural Utah.
Some people are going to look at this and say, and mistakenly think that anybody that comes to an opportunity hub is going to be working for Accelerant. You're just a conduit, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's really what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a location in the rural communities on Main Street. We want it to be part of the community. It's really a location where people can come be employed, but we're really linking them with employers across the Wasatch Front. And we really want to link them with technology jobs ultimately is our ultimate goal. But there are a lot of opportunities in sales and other accounting. Any job that can be done virtually is really what we're interested in putting in one of these opportunity hubs, and contracting with a major company or even small companies along the Wasatch Front, and ultimately beyond the Wasatch Front. It really could be a solution for the entire country.
So if you're standing at the one end of the pipeline and looking down to the opportunity hub as the destination, you basically have 2 inputs. One, you have to have business, and 2, you have to have education to make this all work. So what is GoEd doing as far as trying to help fill that pipeline?
Well, that's the hard part, and really the tech boom has hit Utah. There's over 4,000 tech companies in Utah, 7,000 tech-focused companies in Utah. So the companies are here and they're growing. It's that pipeline of talent that we need to work on, right? And how we're going to do that with GoEd is we've identified IT and the software as one of our industry clusters. It's one of the main industries that we want to focus on, help grow, help facilitate businesses. In the end, it's the private companies that create jobs. Our role as the Governor's Office of Economic Development is to make sure that we can help companies get over any hurdles that they have. Where workforce is one of those hurdles, we're willing to use our BEAR program, which is Business Expansion and Retention, to help cover some of the costs to retool and get some new skills to a lot of these rural workers that are more than qualified, that just need a little bit of a new training to get them on the right track. We're basically here to help and do whatever it takes to make sure that the talented workers in rural Utah are connected with those on the Wasatch Front.
Do you have a way of funneling people towards this program and saying, hey, here's Accelerant, this is what they're doing, take a look at it? I mean, obviously, I would imagine they've been the recipient of some of the BEAR funding in these different counties where they've started. Is that not correct?
Right, yeah. So as part of our BEAR, Business Expansion and Retention program, we have made some funds available for incubators, which could be an Accelerant type model, it could be other business type model, where basically we'll bring in entrepreneurs, small businesses, or even in some cases just people that are looking to upgrade their skills, help pay for some of the equipment to get that up and going, and then also help pay for the ongoing training needs that they'll have. So those funds are available. It's a little bit new to us, and so we're starting to adjust how we make that happen. And we're learning every day on what works best, but we're definitely willing to do our part.
Great. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back with the county seat. We are talking today about this new Accelerant program and how we're linking people together in rural communities. We'll be right back on the county seat.
149 million years in the making, dinosaurs once roamed this land. Now they're found at the Dinosaur National Monument. Let's take you beyond the bones. We call it Dinosaur Land. You'll find it offers adventures and sights not seen anywhere else in the world. Come to Dinosaur Land, Vernal, Utah. You'll want to stay forever. The dinosaurs did.
What would you do with an extra day in Utah Valley? Explore the Wasatch Mountains? Snap a family photo at Bridal Veil Falls. Cool off on Utah Lake or the Provo River. No matter what you're searching for, you can find it in Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
Shopping in Davis County has never been better. Experience Station Park, Northern Utah's premier gathering place for shopping, dining, and entertainment. With over 100 shops, Station Park is something for the whole family. Or explore the shopping possibilities this season under one roof at the Layton Hills Mall. Both are conveniently located north of downtown Salt Lake, just off I-15. Come take advantage of special discounts and a wide selection of stores. Visit playindavis.com for more info.
The Utah Farm Bureau has always been there to fight for the needs of its members. With discount programs on items ranging from vehicles and ATVs to health and wellness. The membership fees aren't big, but the results are. We've been around since 1916, and we're not leaving anytime soon. Utah Farm Bureau. We work for those who work to feed the world.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are having a discussion about opportunity hubs. Is opportunity knocking for you? I wanted to get into the education part of this for a minute, because in part of this Opportunity Hub Accelerant model, there is training. There is college level or specialized training. But this can't really function like, say, Western Governors University. This has to be a different kind of curriculum. What are the challenges, Ethan?
The challenge that we have in the IT world is that it changes every day. And you know, Dean would tell you that every year you could have a whole different set of skill sets needed in coding, et cetera, in the IT world. And so in a college world, we're very structured, and so we've got to have a model that's very flexible, that we can change almost every year, which is where the non-credit side works, hopefully with some pathways into more traditional higher education, bachelor's, master's, because there are needs for that higher level in engineering, et cetera, that are important. But at the base level, we need to have a model that's flexible to do that, which is where I think that the partnerships between the ATCs and other universities is going to become important to make that viable, so that we can modify it as needed to make sure that the individuals that we train meet the demands of those that are seeking them. Because if we're training them in an old language, it doesn't do us any good.
Well, it would seem to me also that if you have an industry that's very specialized, that they are going to need a very specialized curriculum, not just a matter of being up to date, but they may need something that's aeronautical based as opposed to, you know, circuitry based or something like that, and they're going to have to be able to respond quickly. Is the infrastructure, how does the education work in the infrastructure?
So Accelerant really doesn't act as the educator, so we're really relying on the educators to do that piece of it. What we're really excited about is the option of really creating what we would call, or they're calling, stackable curriculum. So if you think about it, if you took somebody who maybe wasn't skilled, and you can give them kind of the first layer of skill in network, and so that might be something like what they call Net Plus. There's a Net Plus certification. You give them that, and you put them to work with that skill. Now they're getting some experience, they're touching things, they're helping a client, they get it. And now you take them to the next level. You add the next level of curriculum on top of that. And you essentially skill them up for the next job. And our hope is that we can take that skill and then offer it out to a company who can employ that higher level of skill and just keep moving them up the chain. And our hope is even to take somebody who may be coming into the industry at entry level and raise them up to a whole new level.
It almost sounds like you're going to do away with student loans because they can earn their way through their education.
No, that would be great, wouldn't it?
So, are there pitfalls in making this making this whole thing work?
There are, and we, thank heavens, I think we're aware of most of them. So we're working on plans to get around them. One thing from a Utah State University perspective is that in Price, we can't afford to just implement this curriculum in Price for 2 or 3 people. It doesn't make sense. But if we can deliver it throughout all of the different branches that Utah State has, or working with ATCs and partnerships where they're the dominant player in that area, so that they can broadcast those classes in. Now all of a sudden we have 50 people in a class being broadcast, or in some cases having that instructor live in those rooms to offset that break even or that return on investment that's going to be important to make sure that as a college we're not going broke trying to implement something as well. So
yeah, I mean, it brings up a really interesting piece to all of this, which is technology. We have great internet in the state of Utah. We have fiber in almost every main street around the state. All of our universities are connected via fiber. And so part of the model, the Accelerant model as well, is to try to connect businesses and people using that same infrastructure. So you think about a telecommuting workforce who would be located in rural communities. If they can use this high-speed internet connectivity to really have a telepresence, not only for education but also work, then the relationship between educator and student and employer and employee becomes much better.
So your vision is that people will go into one of the Accelerant opportunity hubs and they would do their education there?
They could.
And they would do their work there as well, as instead of in their living room in their pajamas?
Right. I mean, that's an option we want to provide. So not every home has gigabit internet. There are actually some communities in Utah that have gigabit to the home, but not everybody does. So we want to provide a location that they can come into in their own community. They can stay local. The jobs would be offered on their local main street, and their kids can stay here in the coming generation, and they can contribute to the economy of their own community.
Now, originally you talked about the fact that you may skill up, as the phrase was used, people to a point where they would actually start establishing companies and organizations within their communities, so that you basically are moving the brick and mortar part of this into a county and adding that additional tax base, that vibrance to the community with a local working place. And is that part of the program?
Yeah, I think it's a natural extension of what happens in this space, especially the technology space. Once you become a programmer, for example, you have a great idea and you start working on it. Traditionally, again, the technology can play a critical piece in all of this, in connecting what might be venture funds who are interested, and we've talked to some of them, they're interested in seeing what's going on in these rural communities, and they'd love to have an interface to these entrepreneurs that have these great ideas. It's just that really hasn't existed. There hasn't been a network to connect everything together before, and that's really what we're hoping to create.
So you're in a community that suffers from some economic stress created by energy. What's the pushback going to be? If you were to put one of these hubs in Castledale or Farron, where would the community need to be prodded or re-educated?
I think this model is fantastic for rural Utah because we're building jobs 2, 3, 4 at a time. It's if you have watched some of the national news, there was a huge issue just recently back east where a small town voted against bringing in a large poultry factory because they didn't know they didn't think that the 1,000 jobs it would create would be beneficial to the community. So they said, no, we don't want it. And I think a lot of rural Utah is that way. There's a lifestyle about rural Utah that we enjoy. That's why we live there. But at the same time, we also want to have more opportunities for our kids to come back. And so if you can do it 2 or 3 here and build it over 10, 15, 20 years, it's a better model than all of a sudden tomorrow. And Jake would, probably be the professional to talk on this one, then all of a sudden have 1,000 jobs hit you tomorrow.
Right. It's much easier to grow and build with what you already currently have, the businesses and people you have, than it is to recruit a major or larger company in.
Okay, very good. This is a good breaking point. We'll come back with some final thoughts on this. You're watching The County Seat. We've been talking about Opportunity Hubs, a company called Accelerant. They're interfaced with the state and the rural communities of Utah. We'll be right back with The County Seat in just a minute.
There is a place where looking out means looking in, where an impression lasting only a few seconds will be imprinted on a life forever, where courage is forged and innocence rediscovered, where remembering is rewarding and forgetting unforgettable. There is a place where truth is felt and where seeing is believing. There is a place.
What do you picture when you hear Rich County, Utah? Bear Lake adventure, snowmobile action, pristine skiing, spectacular solitude. Well, if that isn't what first came to mind, then you just don't know Rich County. The Bear Lake Monster Polar Plunge, snowmobiling Monte Cristo, ice fishing Bear Lake, skiing the backcountry, fishing at the Cisco Disco. Come and find out what you never knew you were missing. Rich County, Utah.
Beautiful scene, isn't it? The great wide spaces of the wild, wild west. Hi, I'm Chad Booth, host of At Your Leisure. I'm asking you to support the Blue Ribbon Coalition. Their efforts responsibly preserve access to our public lands. If it were not for the Blue Ribbon Coalition and their efforts, you may not have access to millions of acres of land across the West. This is America's playground, and if we don't do anything, we are going to lose it. Join, participate, and donate. Welcome back to The County Seat. We've been talking about the new program of Opportunity Hubs that's being started by Accelerant with the assistance of the Governor's Office of Economic Development and a few of the counties around that are engaged in this process. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll start. One of the things that we really need, and I guess one of the requests that I would have from the residents of the rural communities is we'd love to hear your voice. We'd love for you to go to our site and let us know that you exist. We're looking for talent. We have a little bit of an issue in that it's a chicken and the egg problem. We need to know that the talent exists so that we can go sell the talent. And so we're really calling for the talent to come forward and let us know that you're there. We'd love to put you to work. And even if you don't feel like you have the skills, maybe in the tech industry, that's okay. There's lots of job opportunities we'd love to expose you to.
Are some people actually more tech savvy than they think they are?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that have, just an ability to pick up things, and people discount that about themselves.
And that's absolutely right. We find that in all the energy industries, coal mining all the way through oil, that they're highly skilled. They've been running longwalls and programming longwalls. They've been running automated machinery. Everything in the oil is, computerized nowadays. So they're highly skilled. It's helping them understand that exactly that they can easily make a transition, that they have the base that they need to make that transition.
Right, so I travel the entire state, north to south, east to west, and it amazes me every time I go to a small town, some random company out in the middle of nowhere that is doing amazing things. And especially in the IT sector, no one ever knows about them because their clients are in Asia or Europe or California. So the talent is there. It's just the fact that we need to have those talented people step up and say, hey, we're here, we can perform these jobs. And on the other side, it's helping the Wasatch Front-based companies who are booming and need a talented pipeline of workers, help them understand that there is an opportunity in rural Utah to find those workers. They're going to be highly productive, motivated, and they're going to stick with your company because they want to live where they can live, and an opportunity like it's provided at Accelerant will give them that opportunity.
So you kind of put down a call to action, and so you're just looking to say who's interested? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we really are looking for those talented people. So part of this is you have to farm the next generation of talent. So we want to find those that are experts now or have some experience, and we want to begin to build a farm, a pipeline of individuals for the future underneath those people.
So if those jobs aren't here today, they need to get on the roster, so to speak.
Yeah.
And move from the B team to the A team.
For sure.
25,000 tech jobs available in Utah.
How many?
25,000. We need to fill them, and we can fill them with rural Utahns.
Wow. Is there enough bandwidth that they can all work from home?
There is. I mean, that's the good news. Yeah, the technology is there. I mean, we're not waiting for that piece of it to come along, and that's a critical piece.
To give you an idea on the technology, working with Emory Telecom, who's the largest internet provider in Carbon and Emory counties and even down into Grand now. One strand of fiber deals with all of the internet action coming out of that area of rural Utah to the Wasatch Front. And they're laying cables that are, thousands of strands, and they're only using one is all it takes to deal with the information right now.
Great. One last question. How do they reach you?
They can contact us through our website. It's probably the easiest way. It's accelerantbsp.com.
Very good. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Thank you for inviting us into your homes each week on the county seat. Remember, local government is where your life happens. Be part of it. Be involved. Be part of the solution. We'll look for you next week on the county seat. If you'd like to share this video with your friends, well, you do that right here. If you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you do that over here. If you'd like to interact with us on the county seat, that happens over here. If you want to watch the next episode of the county seat, you can catch it Saturday night at 11 or Sunday morning at 8:30 on ABC4 Good for Utah.